Quazi here. In today's video, I want to share with you the 7 mindset habits that I truly believed allowed me to grow a 7-figure business over the past 5 years. By the end of this video, I'm not only going to share with you what those 7 mindset habits are that I truly believe have helped me, but also how you can begin to implement them and make use of them yourself so that you can grow your business. I'm really excited to share this video with you, so let's go right ahead and get started. Real quick before I begin, I made a brand new bootcamp for you, the Identity Shifting Bootcamp, as well as other exclusive bonuses that I can't really share on the channel because of YouTube's platform limitations. If you'd like access to that, just please go down to the pinned comments or in the description below. You can click on a link. It'll take you to a page where you can literally get access to all of these bonuses that I share to our exclusive email list, okay? So the link is down there. Without further delay, let's go right ahead and get started. In this video, I want to share with you 7 mindset habits. This is something I've been thinking about for the past couple of weeks. I was on vacation in Puerto Rico for a week with my wife, and I was thinking, like, what's helped me come this far? Because sometimes when you believe you found something, or you actually do find something that helps you come up across a certain challenge, past those tests in life, you've learned those key lessons, but then the problem is we forget those lessons that have allowed us to come this far, and we think we need something new. But the truth is, we all have our personal idiosyncrasies, our personal habits, our personal strengths and weaknesses. And if we know how to bring ourselves into balance by learning ourselves, gaining that self-awareness, then we can use those to level up in every single area of our lives. And I've seen that the same lessons kept popping up every single time I've experienced a plateau in my life, in my business. And it's been interesting to see these same lessons come up. So I've been thinking about, what are those 7 mindset habits? What are those 7 things that I believe for my mindset has allowed me to grow from being that kid with that engineering professional job, aspiring to start up my own business, something that gives me more freedom, and then actually doing it, but not only doing it, but actually doing it really well and having a business that does 100 grand a month every single month. I want to share with you what I truly believe, what they are, and how you can begin to use them for yourself. And the first thing I realized in my journey was that mindset really does trump all. I know it sounds like a real fruity thing to say, like, oh yeah, mindset is everything. But I truly believe this day one, because what I started to see was that everyone was focused on doing something, and they were focused on the how, or a technique, or, something real, like tangible. But it's the intangibles that create the tangibles. It's the unmanifest that creates what you're seeing. First, it starts off as an idea, something that you can't see, you can't put a finger on, but then it materializes itself into its physical equivalent. That's what I learned in my journey, that it's not always about what you can see, feel, or touch. It's something that's beyond these 5 senses. This leads me to mindset habit number 1, something that I got into the habit of early on in my life that I truly believe helped me, which was looking for principles rather than techniques. We always get so derailed and so distracted by the next technique, the next business strategy, the next thing to invest in, instead of looking at who is it that's doing all of this. Part of the reason why I harp on about identity shifting and becoming the person is because in my journey, I've found that if you want to see permanent transformational change happen in any area of your life, there are 2 things that matter. The number 1 question you've got to ask yourself is who? Who is it that's showing up? Because 2 people can do the same exact thing. Please look around you right now. Everyone has access to the same information. You can, do a Google search and find out how to build a fucking rocket ship, right? But not everyone can do it. It's because it takes the right person with the right passion, determination, grit, focus to be able to do that. I always strive to become that right person. Who can I become? Who can I be that effortlessly has a 7-figure business? So that's the number 1 question I always ask, who? And the second question I always ask is why? Why has this become successful and not that? What is the reason, the core reason? If you ask why enough, you can get down to the core principle of anything. To give you an example of what I mean by principle versus technique, let's look at the example of a guy wants to get the attention of a girl. He goes up to her, he says hi. Inside, he feels very unworthy, very timid, very shy, feels like he's not worthy of this girl's attention. And he says, hi, nice to meet you. The girl doesn't respond to him well because she feels his energy. On the other hand, let's say we have another guy who feels very confident, very certain of himself, very centered within himself. He feels that he is good enough, and he's just making conversation with a girl, a member of the opposite sex. He goes up to the girl and says the same exact thing. Hi, nice to meet you. The girl receives him well. Why? Why is it different in these two instances? Well, it's because of the who, right? It's not about what you say, but about who is saying it. So similarly, in every single area of my life, I found that it's the who that's doing it. When I did something from a place of lack, it brought me more lack into my life. When I got on sales calls with prospective clients and I didn't feel good about myself, I'd never got the sale. When I started to feel good about myself and I felt confident about the product and the service I was selling, I didn't need to convince myself or fake confidence. It naturally came because I started to believe what I was doing. So once I changed my self-image and how I view myself, which is again the core principle, the techniques and the how, they just fell into place all on their own. So that's number one. Instead of taking things at a surface level when someone tells you something, when someone gives you a formula, keep asking why this is working. Reverse engineer it until you find the core principle that's allowing it to work. And you'll know the core principle once you found it because you won't be able to ask why anymore, or it'll stop making sense. The second mindset habit that I've truly believed allowed me to become successful was, number one, there's two parts to this. Number one, acting consciously and intentionally, mindfully, every action that I take, being very conscious of it. Because I started to understand from the first mindset habit that, hey, it's not the techniques, but the principles. It's not the actions, but it's the intention behind them. So acting intentionally, everything that I did, coming from the assumption that, hey, somehow this will help me out. Always keeping that in mind. And from that place of assumption that everything will work out anyway, what's the natural action that arises? Why not do something that you're passionate about? You know, if everything's going to happen anyways, why not have fun with it? Let's have fun in the journey. And the other thing was taking full responsibility for my circumstances. Please don't get me wrong. I don't mean blaming. I don't mean blaming yourself or blaming other people for things that have happened with you or around you. But it's more so realizing that you are responsible. You have the power to respond. And this is something I learned from Sadhguru. He talks about the power of responsibility and how responsibility means your ability to respond. And I've taken that to heart. Everything around you, every circumstance, every misgiving, every good thing that happens, you're responsible. You have the capability and the power to respond to it. So how are you going to choose to respond? That's what determines your fate. Responding consciously, living consciously, and living intentionally. That has completely changed my life. That's number two. Number three, something quirky, a 15-minute meditation daily, which actually allows me, which aids in living consciously. You know, I see so many of my clients, after having worked with over 900 clients, the most prevalent problem that I see is that most people live unconsciously. And they live unconsciously because they have no control over their mental processes. They don't know how to bring themselves, how to center themselves, because they don't have a center. They're all over the place. They get identified with their thoughts, so they move with the thoughts. If a negative feeling comes up, they just move with the negative feeling. They believe they are the feeling, that there is no separation between the observer and the feeling that is being observed. Learning to do this 15-minute meditation every single day. And it can be something simple. So what I do is I simply just watch and observe my thoughts. But initially when I began, and this is what I recommend for everyone, is just watching your breath, just watching the breathing happen and getting into the observer mode rather than the reactor mode. So if you want to become successful at anything, you need to learn to become proactive rather than reactive. Reactivity is when you move with whatever's happening. You are an effect of your environment. Proactivity is when you're the cause of your environment. You can see what's happening and it doesn't affect you because you're organically generating the thoughts, the feelings, the intentions that you would like to manifest in your life. And the thing that allows you to do that is that 15-minute meditation, learning to control the thoughts, the feelings, learning to observe them and watch them neutrally without any sort of reaction to them. So that's what I found to be super helpful. Number 4, doing one uncomfortable thing every single day. My daily uncomfortable action is taking a nice cold shower first thing in the morning. I get up from a nice, cozy, comfortable bed. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to get to work. I don't want to start my day. I just want to laze around, go on my phone, or do something that's not productive. That's when I go against myself. That's the moment you got to go against yourself. That sets the tone for the rest of the day. So for me, taking an ice cold shower, even if it's in the middle of winter, helps me change that mindset immediately. So every morning for the past 5 years, I've been taking an ice cold shower, and that's how I like to start my days. Yours could be something different, but make sure it's something that you commit to every single day, no matter what. So for me, the ice cold shower and the 15-minute meditation are tied together. I take my cold shower, and then I jump straight into meditation. And this is something I've been doing for the past 5 years. You want to keep these practices real simple, because the more complicated you make them, the higher the likelihood that you won't execute them. Okay, that's why I've made mine super simple. So that's number 4. Number 5 is actually super crucial, because this allows you to make use of your mental process. And this is simply focus. Focusing on what is wanted and defocusing on what is unwanted. Most of the time, our mental processes are tied to what we don't want. Most people are more focused on what they don't want rather than what they do want. And you can see this happening in every single sport. You can see this happening in people's businesses, people's personal lives. They're always focused on what they don't want. In business, people wake up with the biggest fears that they have. Oh no, what if this goes wrong today? What if that goes wrong today? What if my clients are unsatisfied? What if I have more bills? What if my business gets shut down? What if this bad thing happens? And the more we give it our energy, the higher the likelihood that that outcome is likely to manifest. So instead of doing that, we simply consciously watch. And again, meditating 15 minutes daily will allow you to get more into that observation mode, so you can choose where you place your attention. So withdrawing your attention through simple observation of what's going on, of what's arising that is unwanted, and simply placing it on what is wanted. How do you feel when the things that you do want manifest? When the things, the business, the success, whatever it is that you want, how does it feel? And staying as much as you can in that feeling. And this does not mean you resist feeling negative feelings. No, not at all. We're going to get to that. This simply means watching. There's a very sharp distinction between watching, observing, and resisting. Because please think about this. When you're resisting something, you're actually giving it more attention. It's getting the energy of your resistance. It's kind of like, let's say you get into a legal battle with someone. This is how I learned this lesson, by the way. Someone does something wrong to you, and you can go ahead and sue them. But in pursuing that legal action, your attention is going towards getting revenge, getting money, putting someone else down. And I know it feels like the right thing to do at the moment. You feel the need for vengeance. You feel the need to be proven right. But instead, the more honorable, the right thing to do, and again, this is my personal opinion, but I believe the right thing to do is to always put your attention on what you want instead. So instead of pursuing legal action, when things have gone wrong in my business in the past, I've just focused on, okay, what is it that I want? Well, I want a successful business. So I'm focusing more of my attention on what I do want than letting my attention get tied into a legal battle, pursuing legal counsel and doing all of that stuff, right? I just want to stop the bleeding here, get rid of it, get rid of the fly that's sucking your attention, because your attention is the most precious thing in the world, right? That's why so many of these companies are paying so much money to place an ad in front of you. Be mindful of it, guard it preciously, and place it where you want to place it. Because unless and until you can place your attention on where you consciously want to place it, guess what? You'll never be successful. You won't be successful by accident, right? If you are successful by accident, then you're always going to suffer your success. You're always going to have a fear of its loss. Whereas if you were to become successful consciously, then even if you were to lose it all, you could just make it all again. Simple. Focus on what is wanted. Withdraw attention from what is unwanted at all costs, especially as a business owner. This is so crucial to you. I remember when I did my first 20K month, I was focused on the 3 clients that I didn't get, as opposed to the 9 clients or 10 clients that I did get. And that was insane to me. I was thinking, I could have done a 30K month if I'd just gotten those 3 extra clients, instead of thinking, wow, I just hit my first 20K month. I've been dreaming about this for the past, I don't know how many years. Think about it that way. Where's your attention going right now? That's number 5. Number 6, giving up control to gain control. This kind of ties into what I talked about last. When you give up your control, when you give up trying to force something and figuring something out that's not coming to you at the moment, you're manipulating life. When you manipulate life, you go against the flow of life. The right thing will come to you at the right time. This is the power of withdrawing your attention. So have you ever gone through a math problem or something in school, or a challenge, and you couldn't figure it out right now, but you just gave up? You're just like, you know what? I'm just gonna rest right now and figure it out later. And then you took a nap or something and you woke up, you're like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. You look at it differently, right? All of a sudden things click. That's what I mean by giving up control. When you find that something isn't working right off the bat, and you keep trying and you keep trying and you keep trying, just let it rest for a while. Come back to it later. Find something else. This is truly why I believe having a hobby as a business owner is so important. Because when I was obsessed with my business, I was moving up and down. Like, I'm still obsessed with my business, don't get me wrong, but it's more like a healthy obsession. It's more like a hobby, right? As opposed to like, this is my ride or die, you know, my everything depends on it. That becomes such a toxic relationship. Like, you become a slave to it. Like, it makes you feel so little. It's like your well-being is tied to how you do in your business. When I found a hobby such as like playing golf or something, whenever something didn't go well and I couldn't figure something out, I would just play some golf. And then I'd learn some lesson from golf that would allow me to figure it out, right? So you need these different areas of your life and different hobbies that you can sort of switch off and place your attention onto so that your subconscious mind figures out the problems and its solutions. And that all happens spontaneously. Because remember, all of the problems that arise, they're arising spontaneously. And they get solved spontaneously if you just stop holding on to them. Give up control to gain control. And the one mantra I have that allows me to do this is focus and patience. Just have patience that things will solve themselves and just stay focused. You know, it's like progressively chipping away. You focus on something, you can't figure it out, you defocus. Then you come back to it again when you're fresh. Focus again, defocus. Focus again, defocus. And be patient throughout this whole process. Everything will unfold itself very nicely in the end. That is number 6. And number 7, and this is something I've started living recently and it's completely changed my life, is minimalism in every single area of my life. If you look at my business, we have just 2 products. If you look at my business website, it's very simple. There's not a lot of links. There's not a lot of different things that I do. I don't sell like a million different products. I don't have a million different YouTube channels. I have 1 YouTube channel, 2 products. So the less things you own, the less energy you waste trying to maintain every single one of them. Minimalism literally means living very simply. You know, I think I used to live very minimally a long time ago, but I realized this when I look back at it. I had this school teacher who used to call me a minimalist. And I always thought she was saying that to insult me, because every single classwork or like assignment that I would do, I would just do the bare minimum. And so she would call me, she was French, she would call me the minimaliste artiste. And I would always take offense to that. But now I think back to it, I'm like, wow, I was doing the right thing day one. I love being minimalist. That's why Bill Gates says he always hires the laziest person, because the laziest person will find the simplest way to do something. Why take the long way to get an outcome when you can do it the shortest, easiest, and the most efficient way? So that's how I think now. I think minimal. Like, how can I achieve the same outcome with less? How can I do more with less? How can I have more impact with less? How can I make more revenue in my business with less products, with less customers, with less marketing, with less promoting, with even shorter courses, with shorter content? So these are the kinds of things that I'm thinking about. And once I started to think like that and I gave myself all of these constraints, like I want to do less, then my life changed. I started doing 100 grand a month without working barely 4 hours a week. My time mostly gets spent on doing content, things that I'm actually doing to work in the business. Most of my time is spent working on the business, or playing golf sometimes. With that, I conclude this video. Those were the 7 mindset habits that I truly believe helped me grow a 7-figure business. And I hope you found this video useful. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Hit that little bell there so you're notified of any new video that I put out. Let me know, please, what you thought of this. Leave me a comment if you like this casual style. This is completely like off the cuff. I just wrote down 7 things that I've been thinking about for a while. I didn't like do a whiteboard video with analysis. I know you guys like those, but please let me know what you thought of this. I love looking at your comments and seeing what you guys think. And make sure you get access to that identity shifting bootcamp. That really goes into depth on how I became the 7-figure business owner internally first, and then the business actually manifested. That's a 5-video series. You'll find the link to that in the pinned comments. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.